Hi everyone, welcome to this introductory video on Bubble.io. If you're new to Bubble, this is the perfect place to start. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through the basics of the platform, covering key features that will help you get started building your own no-code apps. By the end of this video, you'll have a good understanding of Bubble's interface and core functionality. Let's start with an overview of the Bubble interface. When you first log in and create a new app, you'll be taken to the Bubble editor. This is where you'll do all your work, from designing your app to managing your database and building workflows. At the top left of the screen, you'll see the navigation bar. This is where you can switch between design, workflow, data, styles, plugins, and settings. Each of these tabs allows you to manage different aspects of your app. Let's start with the Design tab. This is where you'll build the visual layout of your app. You can drag and drop elements like buttons, input fields, text, and images directly onto the page. The left-hand side is the Elements section, where you can choose from a variety of UI components. At the top, you have the Canvas header, where you can select pages, elements, and spot any issues within your app. After clicking on an element, the property editor will be shown. This is where you can customize each element you add to the page. You'll see options for adjusting size, colors, alignment, and dynamic data sources. Now let's create our first page. I'll walk you through how to add elements to a page, like text and buttons, and show you how to customize them. We'll start by dragging a text element from the Elements section onto the canvas. As you can see, it's very easy. Just click and drag it over. Let's change the text to say, "Welcome to my app." To do that, we'll click on the text element, and in the property editor on the right, we'll update the text field to show our message. Next, let's add a button. We'll grab a button from the Elements section and drag it onto the page right below the text. I'll label this button "Click Me" in the property editor. You can also change the button's color, font, and size. Let's go ahead and make it a little bigger and change its color to red by adjusting the options here in the editor. Now that we have some elements on the page, let's talk about responsive design. One of Bubble's powerful features is its built-in responsive engine, which allows your app to adapt to different screen sizes, like mobile phones and tablets. To check how our page will look on different devices, we'll click on the Responsive tab at the top. By default, our Bubble app is not responsive. We can make it responsive by clicking the Make Responsive button at the top of the page. We can then change our container layout to column. This will align all elements in the page to a continuous column. Now our page is responsive. We can see how our design will adjust when viewed on smaller screens. As you can see, the elements change size when the screen width is adjusted, but you can fine-tune their properties if needed. For example, we can ensure that the text stays centered and that the button resizes properly. Let's adjust the minimum width of the button here in the property editor to make sure it looks good on both desktop and mobile. Next, let's dive into workflows, which handle the logic of your app. Workflows are what make your app dynamic by controlling what happens when users interact with the interface, like clicking buttons or filling out forms. Let's create a simple workflow for the button we added earlier. When the user clicks the Click Me button, we want to display a message. We'll switch to the Workflow tab in the navigation bar. Now click here to add an event and select Element. Then, when button Click Me is clicked. Next, we'll add an action. Click Add an Action and choose Element Actions, then Show Message. We can either display an alert or change text on the page. Let's choose to show an alert. Moving back to the Design tab, I'll drag an alert element from the element palette onto the page and configure it to show a message when the button is clicked. We'll go back to the workflow and link the alert to our button click event. Now, when the button is clicked, the alert will display. One of the most important features of Bubble is its database. The database stores the information your app uses, like user data or product information. Let's take a look at how to set up a simple database. Go to the Data tab in the navigation bar. This is where you manage the back end of your app. We'll start by creating a new data type. Click Create a New Type, and let's call it Product. This will store basic information about our products. We can then click Create a New Field, name the field Product Description, and change the field type to text. Whenever a user signs up or submits information, it gets stored in this database. We can also create workflows to add data to the database or retrieve data to display it on the page. For instance, when a user submits a form, their name and email can be saved in the database. That's a quick introduction to Bubble.io. We've covered the basic layout of the Bubble editor, how to add elements to a page, set up responsive design, create workflows, and manage a simple database. In future videos, we'll dive deeper into advanced features like building dynamic applications, user authentication, and integrating with external APIs. Thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful for getting started with Bubble.